Hello, family. Welcome back. I want to talk about something that caught me off guard. It's one of those things when you're kind of sitting through and looking at all of this end time stuff happen and it's fulfilling prophecies in the Bible as we speak. It's interesting times. I've always had this sense, or for most of my life, anyways, that the return of the Messiah is very soon. And sure enough, we weren't wrong. My dad's been telling me some a date that has been in my mind for a while, and we haven't put that out there yet and gone public with it. It does relate to the message video we've shared in the past, and we need to address again because it goes way deeper. I'm believing that my dad might be onto something. My wife also came to the same conclusion on her own, and so it's very strange that the end might be much closer within a few years than most of us had anticipated. And you can see with everything speeding up that that's probably the case. Now, I'm sure most of you have seen this Abramowitz commercial here, or you've heard of it being deleted after it had like 24,000 plus dislikes to maybe, not even 1,000 likes over here, because everyone knows in the truther community who this is, what she does and stands for, and they were exposing that. And Microsoft took it down. They said later on that, oh, there was a bunch of conspiracy theorists saying we promoted Satanism and there's no evidence that this woman here is a Satanist. Well, that's a lie. And if that was true, if there was no evidence and there's a bunch of conspiracy theorists, why take it down in the first place? But they did, and they stand behind their actions of taking it down. But after that commercial was taken down, someone shared this picture here of these two Satanists right here. One's more of a well-known figure that most people know of right here, the Rothschild family here. And the painting behind them wasn't as well known. I hadn't seen this until this picture surfaced. And the title above this picture in the post that someone shared said, "Here they are standing in front of Lucifer summoning his legions." That's the name of that painting. But something about that painting stood out to me. Perhaps it was the way the face was illuminated, and I looked at it a little closer and almost had like one of those flashbacks to where have I seen this before? And the Statue of Liberty popped into my mind. Everyone's seen this iconic statue, even if you're not from America. It's very famous. It's world known, and its origins have been said, from what I was told when I looked into this years ago, that the maker of the Statue of Liberty was wanting to use the pagan goddess Isis or Ishtar to make a statue of that pagan goddess and bring it to America. And that was okay. I could understand that, Mystery Babylon type of stuff. Makes a lot of sense. But I looked really close at this and some things came to mind. Not just the fact that these two look nearly identical, that there may be something a little deeper than the whole Ishtar or Isis story. There could be something a little deeper than the surface level research. And that's the conclusion I'm drawing, and you'll see why here in just a second as it relates to the word. But these are almost copy and paste images here. Even the biceps, it looks like they went to the same gym, the same muscle definition right here. You can see the face, the eyebrow structure, the eyes, everything, just the posture. But it gets really weird when you look at the feet of the Statue of Liberty. Even the feet have the exact same pose as they do in the painting. You have the right or the left foot forward and the right foot sort of tippy-toeing right here, like you're pushing off of it. And if you look at the front foot, there it is, left foot forward, and the right foot right there, just like it is in the painting. You can see that. But the chain is what set off sort of the light bulb reaction where something is up. Something's up with this chain, and it has nothing to do with America breaking free from chains of all that nonsense. It's biblical. Right here, Jude chapter 6, and there's other verses that relate to this, even like in the book of Enoch, you can find stuff like this. But it says, "And the angels which kept not their first estate, but left their own habitation. He hath reserved in everlasting chains under darkness unto the judgment of the great day. Bound in chains, these angels. And then you have Lucifer summoning his legions. Starting to make a little bit of sense. This crown, to me, I see that sun worshiping, those sun rays right there. There's a lot that goes into that. And if you read Ezekiel chapter 8, and it shows you, God is showing Ezekiel exactly what he despises the most. And one of those was sun worship. That's a whole other video in itself. But it talks about people worshiping the sun, and he's going through and showing him different things that make him hurt and sad and angry. And one of those was people worshiping that sun and weeping over Tammuz, which my wife and I are finding out goes very deep. It goes back to Nimrod, and after he died, Tammuz allegedly came from the sun, born of a virgin. You know, the stuff that they start to take with their pagan holidays and apply that towards the Messiah. A lot of those lies, and then you see people like the Zeitgeist creating these lies that that the Messiah is based on this because of all of these connections, and none of it really holds up to scrutiny. My brother did a really good video on that. You'll have to watch that if you don't know what I'm talking about. That goes pretty deep itself. And but that right there and the chains, to me, is a lot deeper in meaning and goes way beyond the pagan goddess Isis. But I'm not going to end with this. You're going to look and see what's on the head here, and even the hand looks extremely familiar. You see the two fingers right here pointing upward. Seen that before. You'll see that here again in just a second. But there is that eagle on top of the head, or on top of the hat right there. Very familiar, because we bear that mark on our currency, and we're about to get into that digital currency, possibly the ones mentioned recently that you guys have seen videos about, the cryptocurrency, the digital currency with the no joke 666 right there in the patent number. Lots of people have done videos about that. You can look into that if you want. I'm not going to go deep into that. That's another visible prophecy being fulfilled right before our eyes. It is to come. We can't, sign petitions and stop that. You can't stop the prophecies from becoming true. They will come true. That's how we know the word is true, and we can trust it. Okay. I'm going to get a little freakier. This is something from a few years ago I'd looked into and never said anything about, but seeing these two little digits up here pointing into the air reminded me of this, and I just wanted to put that out there because I'm going back to that ancient map. I had someone translate some of the things that were really freaky, but we talked about this in that video. I just haven't fixed the audio on that. I'm going to have to redo my part because it sounds horrible. But the whole Baphomet statue, and how there would be a half human, half goat type creature, whether it be spiritual or real. I was looking into reproduction with my biology students, and they were asking me some weird questions, and we got to talking about chromosomes and how those are important when you are of the same species, and why you're able to breed certain species with others, and why a dog and a cat can't come together and produce offspring, all sorts of different things. And I started thinking, which organisms have the same chromosomes as humans? And what do you know? A sable antelope was the one that popped up as having 46 chromosomes like we do. And the mix between these two looks a lot like this. I mean, look at the snout on this guy, and then look at the snout on this little statue here. Even the ears, everything is just eerie. When I made that connection, I was like, wow, this is freaky. This goes pretty deep. Definitely something to think about in terms of how they could do certain things. I'm not saying that that's what this is exactly, but it's an interesting connection and just something I wanted to share because I was mind blown when I looked that up and saw this animal and sort of put two and two together here. And I didn't share that with anybody because I knew they would think, hey, this guy's crazy talking about Baphomet in school. Can't do that. So I only talked about that here, and I've shown this to my wife. But definitely crazy, and I know you guys will probably understand where I'm coming from with some of this stuff, because the reality we have been given is totally different than what's been going on behind the scenes for generations. But those chains right here are symbolic, I do believe, of what's really going on with the evil ones being bound. Okay, they kept not their first estate, and now they are in chains of darkness. Chains broken right here. They're trying to put out some subliminal stuff. And yes, I used to be very patriotic and loved looking at the Statue of Liberty. I've been to it, and I never really thought anything bad about it back in those days. But there is a lot going on with these powers of darkness and wickedness in high places, but exposing them is not enough. I'm finding out that they are very devout and they are working hard. We cannot sleep on just knowing what is out there. We have to fight in the battle, and the Father has made it to where we are in battle and we have everything we need if we seek after it and we keep on that full armor. The armor is important. You have to understand what it is. You have to be ready for what's to come. Major deception is coming. This stuff we're seeing now with the little virus is baby stuff compared to what tricks they are going to pull here very soon. It may not be a very easy reality to live with. I was talking to my son about this and just saying, you know, I hate that in his youth he's experiencing a lot of this stuff, but he's very wise for his age, and he understands what's going on. And we need to come together and start sharing the word a lot more. I'm trying my best to do what my wife says and study. It's been a little hard lately with what's been going on, but I thank you guys for your prayers. My brother thanks you too. We were talking about the peace we are feeling, and just knowing that all of you are praying for us and just doing what it takes to help us get up and do the work that needs to be done to be ready and to have our families ready, and not just be content with knowing some truths about what's going on.
Are you hearing this, friends? They are in this together, okay? Pope Francis is very warm and cozy, promoting, behind, supporting the United Religions Initiative. Okay, so if you recall from my last video, One World Religion is Here, I pointed out an article that was from, it was called an Interfaith Report from COG Interfaith Report. And at first, I didn't know what it was. It was just talking about the affiliation between Pope Francis and the United Religions Initiative. And I said I wasn't sure what the site was. I thought it was that Church of God. I didn't know. But then I noticed at the end of the article that the writer was all for Pope Francis and just he was the greatest Christian. And isn't it interesting how the term Christian is, the world now believes that it applies to Catholicism? It absolutely does not. It is not a Christian faith. It is a false doctrine. However, when I researched that more, I thought I want to know what this website is, the COG Interfaith Report. So I clicked on the COG logo or About Us, and guess what I saw? Click. The Covenant of the Goddess is what COG stands for. This is an organization that is very involved. It's the largest witches coven, I think, in the world. I don't know, but you can research that. Very involved in the United Religions Initiative. And if you click on some of these things down here, you can see all of the pentagram, the satanic things. I mean, I got chills when I clicked this and saw that this is who's in bed, no pun intended, with the whore of the Mystery Babylon. This is really, really bad, folks.
But something that is maybe a little bit more exciting is, are men becoming less manly? I think you want to take a look at this.
I do think that men are less manly now than 20 years ago, because I think 20 years ago, the men were still opening the doors for women and they were in charge of the household.
I would say that I'm more manly now, but men are less manly now than they were 20 years ago.
Of course, men were more masculine 20 years ago. Just look at the way they dressed, the way they acted.
I think what makes a man a good man is someone that knows how to say yes, dear. Yeah.
Before we get into this debate, medical studies in both the US and Europe do suggest that modern life is taking its toll on men. So we're seeing some biological changes. The average testosterone level, according to some studies, 22% lower from 1987 to 2004. Sperm count decreasing 1.5% annually. You're seeing more penile birth defects. I actually would say and argue that men are becoming less manly, not only physiologically, but I think socially as well. You know, we know more about how to operate a computer tablet than how to fix a car. And a generation ago, men fixed things. They did. I really do. I feel like
and it's more
some
of
this masculinity has been
how
lost.
our society is going, because it is going more towards computers and things that are less outdoors, so less, requiring physical strength, and also because of the way that women are now starting to work more and out in the workforce, so men are starting to help out at home with childcare and housework. I mean, I think that all sharing is great. Although there are some women that they still want their men to be a little rough and tough, they still want to grab them by the hair and throw them down, a little that.
Well, no, and I think there's a takeaway here. I love that you said that, because I do think that we need to, as men, try to some extent, hold on to the roots of manliness, because like you said, there's
something... And be more role models. You had a great role. More men need to be involved with their kids and be the role models. I think that's really important.
Another thing that's really important to bring up here, we don't know why testosterone levels are dropping. It could be environmental, all the chemicals around us, pollution. If there's something out there in the environment causing us men to have lowered testosterone levels, then we got to figure out what it is. Because, I mean, you like men.
I like men. I want men around. That's right. Somebody's got to take the garbage out.
When the sun did rise, everybody was gone. You were far from home, you were on your own. Shapeshifters, shapeshifters, there goes my alter ego. You know everyone that I know. Shapeshifters, shapeshifters, there goes my alter ego. You know all the people I know. We are all shapeshifters. There goes my alter ego. You know everyone that I know. We are all lonely drifters. There goes my alter ego. Sometimes I feel I'm slipping away. Sometimes I feel I'm slipping away. Sometimes you're on your own.
And God said, "Let us make man in our image, after our likeness, and let them have dominion over the fish of the sea." So God created man in his own image. In the image of God created he him. Male and female created he them. And God blessed them. And God said unto them, "Be fruitful and multiply, and replenish the earth and subdue it, and have dominion over the fish of the sea, and over the fowl of the air, and over every living thing that moveth upon the earth." And the Lord God took the man and put him into the Garden of Eden to dress it and to keep it. And the Lord God commanded the man, saying, "Of every tree of the garden thou mayest freely eat, but of the tree of the knowledge of good and evil thou shalt not eat of it. For in the day that thou eatest thereof, thou shalt surely die." And the Lord God said, "It is not good that the man should be alone. I will make him an helpmeet for him." And the Lord God caused a deep sleep to fall upon Adam, and he slept. And he took one of his ribs, and closed up the flesh instead thereof. And the rib which the Lord God had taken from man made he a woman, and brought her unto the man. And Adam said,
"This is now bone of my bones, and flesh of my flesh. She shall be called woman, because she was taken out of man."
Therefore shall a man leave his father and his mother, and shall cleave unto his wife, and they shall be one flesh.
amphetamines and killing. Could we go there instead? Yeah, yeah. Satan is a woman, and she knows my name. Only being human, I will hear her every refrain.
the Jesuits too. Who was Ignatius Loyola?
He was a great saint.
He was a great saint?
He
founded the Jesuit order.
More people to the faith.
How come Ignatius Loyola
had a counter-reformation, and his whole plan was to stop the Reformation from taking place.
The whole point was to re-enliven the Catholic Church, and he did a great job with that.
What do you think the Spanish Inquisition
That's what
did?
the Counter-Reformation is.
What do you think the Spanish Inquisition did?
Brought people to the truth.
They killed people.
Brought people to the truth.
By murdering them?
No, absolutely not.
Oh, come on. I know enough history to know that Ignatius Loyola was a murdering dog. Absolutely.
You don't know that Ignatius ever murdered anybody.
Yes, I do. The records. Oh, Ignatius personally?
You don't know
or
that
his
at all.
Jesuit dogs that went on after
the
him?
Jesuits said, it's really insulting to call them dogs, too.
Yeah, they are dogs.
They're not dogs. They're great men.
Wicked. The Jesuits?
They're great men who try to bring people
Jesuit general is the most wicked man out there right now.
Yeah, Pope is a Jesuit. You know that.
Yeah, I know he is. Isn't that funny? Now, how is the Pope the Jesuit when the Jesuits were suppressed before and now the Pope is a Jesuit?
No.
Never has there been a Jesuit Pope, correct?
Right.
Why is there one now?
Because he's the right man for the job.
Is he now?
So you
believe what Pope Francis is teaching now is Bible, or is it his ex cathedra preaching?
It's right from the Bible.
It is, huh?
Yeah.
So accepting homosexuality, accepting all those other sins, and bringing them into the church is what he's supposed to do. He's been saying it everywhere.
No, he hasn't. You believe it wasn't
No, I listen to what he says, his own words.
No,
his Jesuits or Pope Francis' own words.
He wrote a great encyclical letter recently. I think we should read. I think we really enjoy.
I understand what he wrote because I know Francis is.
Marriage?
I know who Francis is.
Did you read it? No,
I know who the Jesuits are.
No, I'm afraid you don't.
I know who the Jesuits are.
I don't think
Absolutely,
you really know.
I do.
You know a caricature of both of them.
A character.
Caricature.
Hey, let me ask you this: Is it of God to get people drunk to pay for this building right here? Because these people are getting hammered out there. Do you think this is right?
I don't know that anybody's getting hammered. I don't have anything
What?
to do with that.
What do you think you have anything
I don't know
with that?
anybody's getting hammered.
Isn't this going to support the Basilica?
At the building. Huh?
Right. You think that so making money off
anybody's
booze?
getting hammered.
What are you talking about? Look at all the beer in there and all the drinking and all the booze. Have you ever watched these people stumble out? Have you ever watched these people stumble out? Are you kidding me? You got to be blind not to see that.
I don't see anybody.
You're
stumbling
making
out.
money.
You
You're
see one
making
person
money
stumbling?
off booze.
It's a way in which people in the community are able to support something.
They're getting drunk.
Most of them aren't Catholic, huh?
Yeah, but
I don't
they're
know that
getting
they're getting drunk.
What happens when you drink booze? No, I don't.
I don't either.
No.
Stand here and talk to a few as they come out. They might have gone in there that way too. Doesn't matter. It's a way. They also do some great tours. If you had a ticket, you'd be able to go in and get a great tour of that basilica.
I don't need a tour
It
of that.
would be helpful for you.
You ever heard of the Waldenses?
Yeah.
Yeah, you ever heard of them? You know who murdered them?
Yeah, they murdered them. They're still there.
No, a lot of them have been murdered by the
They're
Roman
still there.
Catholic papacy.
Yeah. What about the
Absolutely. How about the Donatists?
What about all the
How about the
Catholics
Edict
that
of
were
Milan? Do you know about the Edict of Milan?
That didn't really exist.
Oh. What about the Edict against the Donatists? How about the Edict against the Donatists?
Yeah.
You know that? You know about that?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So they didn't kill the Donatists.
Well, tell me this: there were all kinds of awful things that were more political than religious, huh? So there were a lot of Catholics that were killed in that too. Huh?
Exactly. So why would the Pope and why would the Jesuits and why would they be involved in all after that's after the Jesuits, the rise of the Jesuits after the Counter-Reformation? Why would they be involved? Yeah, that was before all that. What I'm saying is afterwards, why would they be involved with things like that?
Yeah. They're not. They're involved in doing with this generation.
No. Why are they involved? Why are they involved with subverting governments and everything else?
No, that's what they're about. Is that?
Come on, you know as well as I do. Hey, you know as well as I do that the Vatican and the Jesuits have more power in this world than you could ever imagine. More money than you could ever imagine.
Were that only the case, huh?
Come on, seriously.
No.
Where's all the money in the Vatican?
Does more. There's nobody that does more.
How does the Vatican have so much money?
They don't.
What do you mean they don't have money?
That's why we have to give them a check every year.
Are you kidding me?
They don't have money.
Do you really believe that?
Have you ever looked at their balance sheets?
Yeah. Have you ever looked at their investments?
Have you? Yeah.
Have you ever looked at their investments?
I absolutely have.
So have I. They're worth trillions.
No. Hey.
Oh, now come on. They own stock in all of the major. They own stock in all of the major corporations. That's easily provable.
Some major corporations. They obviously.
No,
do.
the most wealthy corporations in the world.
That's the stewardship.
No. They're supposed to be. They're not supposed to be a business. They're supposed to be a church.
They use their funds.
You know, I'll tell you one thing. They've taught you. They have taught you one thing. They've taught you how to argue effectively to deflect things and not answer.
The Basilica does, huh? Now you tell me what other church
let's
does
talk
what
about
the basilica
let's talk
does.
about the over four. Hey, hang on.
No.
Let's
in
talk
terms
about.
of feeding
Okay,
people
can we
every
talk about
day,
this?
sir, huh?
How about the over 400
Giving them
cases
sandwiches.
of sexual molestation of children against the St. Paul parish? What about those?
Allegations, huh?
Those are, you don't believe any of them are true?
No, I don't. No, I didn't say that.
Are you
A lot of
saying
them
that
are
these
true.
people aren't molested?
Absolutely, lots of them are true, huh?
Yeah, and it's happening all over the place.
In families, that's the sad thing.
No, it's happening. It's happening in Catholic churches.
How awful it is that those things happen in families.
You know why they happen, don't you? Because of a lot of things. One of the things is the unscriptural celibacy that is taught by the Roman Catholic Church, that you can't get married. That's wicked. That's not in the Bible. Forbidding to marry and to abstain from meats.
What does St. Paul tell people?
That's what the Bible says.
What does St. Paul tell people?
That to marry. No, he said it was better to marry than to burn.
Context,
yeah. He said it's not good. It's good for a man not to touch a woman. Nevertheless, let every man have his own wife and every wife have his own husband.
Right.
That's what he said. To avoid fornication.
Absolutely.
That's what it
But
said.
and if they marry, they have not sinned.
Yeah, but if thou marry, thou hast not
we
sinned.
don't say marriage is a sin. We say marriage is beautiful.
Well, then why don't you get married?
Sacrament. It's not for me. That's not what God's asked me to do.
I'd love to see that. Then why are so many children being molested then in Catholic churches?
I'm sorry, it's part of sin, original sin. Huh?
No, it's not part of original sin. It's because of the perversion that's taught.
Why are so many of the priests in the Vatican involved in sodomy and sodomite and orgies?
No, I don't think that's really true.
Well, no, it's been reported on widely.
But by whom?
By for example,
no, but I'm saying
48
I don't
hours.
think that's realistic.
No, they went in with hidden cameras and filmed it.
And filmed sodomy. No, that's
no. They filmed sodomy.
They filmed.
If you want to talk doctrine, you can come talk to us.
They did. They went in and filmed it.
Lucky Luciano wrote his name in blood on the sidewalks of New York and made himself the boss of all bosses. By the age of 34, he was running the Sicilian mob like a US corporation, diversifying the rackets, organising the gangs, and running his own political candidates. With Lucky Luciano's life, we can take a journey into the dangerous world of La Cosa Nostra for the definitive portrait of one of the most notorious criminals in history. Why Lucky Luciano made a secret deal with the US government. Charlie Lucky Luciano was instrumental to the development of the American Mafia and supervised the attempt to dominate mob life in New York City. Not surprisingly, he has been the subject of numerous biographies, exposés, and various works of urban folklore since his death in 1962. Although he was once called one of the 20 most influential builders and titans of the 20th century, Charles Lucky Luciano was not just a simple mobster. His advice was sought after by world leaders, but he was still a kingpin of crime. Luciano, by name of Charles Luciano, original name Salvatore Lucania, was born in Palermo, Italy on November 27, 1897. His parents, Antonio and Rosalia Quania, brought their 4 children to New York City in 1907. At first, Luciano and Langsky, along with friends Frank Costello and Benny Bugsy Siegel, committed simple robberies to make ends meet. Eventually, the ruthless natural leadership style of each man enabled them to rise to the top of their chosen profession. It was said of the Luciano organisation that when they downsized some of their colleagues, the move was permanent. An action by the United States government gave Luciano the idea that propelled him to the top of the underworld. In 1919, the sale of alcoholic beverages was outlawed. It became clear that the demand for alcohol was still large, and whoever could provide the drinks would become very rich. By 1920, he and Langsky were supplying alcoholic beverages to all the Manhattan speakeasies, bars. After much debate, the Americans agreed to support Churchill in his desire to invade Mussolini's Italy. To do this, they would first have to attack Sicily in an operation that would go by the code name Husky. Luciano made a deal with the US government. During World War II, the US government reportedly struck a secret deal with the imprisoned Luciano. Luciano helped to provide mafia assistance to counter filtration attacks, to influence international resistance groups, and to participate in the liberation of Sicily, among other activities. In exchange for his participation, Luciano was allowed to continue leading his mob family from prison. Luciano's new position of standing made him the target of special prosecutors. Evidence was gathered against him and he was arrested. After a brief escape and then recapture, Luciano was tried and convicted of the charges against him. Luciano was sent to prison but continued to rule the mob family from behind bars. Luciano adopted the efficient idea of crime families, appointing faithful supporters to head each one. He wanted to establish order. With the help of his longtime friend, Mayor Lansky, he created the Commission, or Unione Siciliano. A group of his Sicilian friends sat on the board, and all organised crime activities in the 1930s were decided by this commission. Luciano realised that the war had to end and that he should be in charge of all the gangs in New York City. He had to figure a way to get the two main bosses to kill each other, since mafia soldiers on both sides of the continuing war were being killed every day. He realised that the continuing bloodshed between gangs was attracting more and more of the attention of the authorities and disrupting his lucrative businesses. He contacted the other boss, Salvatore Maranzano, and an arrangement was made to assassinate Mazzeria. They shot Mazzeria to death. Next on the list was Maranzano, who didn't know that most of his underbosses and capos had given their loyalty to Luciano. They saw that Luciano was a better businessman who would bring them more profits. Maranzano invited Luciano to a meeting where he planned to have him killed. Luciano didn't show up for the meeting, but 4 taxmen did. By the time his personal bodyguards realised what was happening, Maranzano was dead. They fled in fear, and the way was clear for Luciano to become the most powerful of all crime figures, the New York boss of bosses. Top crime bosses were also popular society figures. Luciano was often seen at restaurants and the theatre with well-known civic leaders, entertainers and other notables. Although he had bodyguards with him, he didn't really need them. Luciano was clearly in charge of organised crime, and nobody dared to challenge his authority. Efforts to secure his release proved futile until the Japanese attacked Pearl Harbor on December 7, 1941, and the US declared war. The US Navy feared submarine attacks and needed the cooperation of all waterfront workers to prevent this. Since Luciano still maintained complete control over the New York waterfront, even from prison, he was in a position to bargain for his freedom. In exchange for getting the dock workers to help the US Navy and ordering the Italian mafia to work against Benito Mussolini back in Italy, Luciano was promised a parole. Navy intelligence sought Luciano's help in tightening waterfront security. The crime syndicate's power extended to the Longshoremen's Union. Luciano gave the orders, sabotage on the docks ended, and in 1946 his sentence was commuted and he was deported to Italy, where he settled in Rome. In 1947 he moved to Cuba, to which all the syndicate heads came to pay homage and cash. But the pressure of public opinion and the US Narcotics Bureau forced the embarrassed Cuban regime to deport him. However, he had to agree to return to Italy and remain there for the rest of his life. He ended up in Naples, where he continued to direct the drug traffic into the United States and the smuggling of aliens to America. In 1925, Lucky was worth $4 million, which would be worth around $60 million today. Mind you, this is after he paid off various police and politicians with a whopping $8 million so he could continue his racketeering business. This would equal out to a $114 million bribe today. Lucky Luciano was one of the most influential and memorable mobsters of the 20th century. After surviving a brutal attack on his life, he split New York City into 5 crime families and created the Commission, a governing body that dealt with organised crime matters on a nationwide level. Lucky Luciano was named one of the most influential men of the 20th century. He downsized, he restructured, and he used Standard & Poor's as much as Smith & Wesson to change forever the face of organised crime. This is true, Luciano changed the way mobsters ran the world, creating a global drug economy and working closely with government officials and law enforcement to get it done. Luciano died of a heart attack in the Naples airport on January 26, 1962. He was finally allowed to return to his beloved United States for burial.
Here lies Fat Tony Salerno, once one of the most feared men in New York. He was the boss of the Genovese crime family, and it just so happens, the man from whom Donald Trump bought his concrete. Fat Tony and other mobsters had a lock on New York concrete. While most builders use steel and some concrete, Trump built the tallest concrete building in New York.
Fat Tony Salerno was fat, and he was the head of the Genovese crime family, which was the most powerful crime family in the city at the time.
And Fat Tony didn't just supply concrete to Donald Trump. The two men also shared a lawyer, Roy Cohn.
Well, the evidence is that Fat Tony Salerno met with Donald Trump in Roy Cohn's office, which makes incredibly logical sense. Not only did I have sources telling me that at the time, but when you consider that he's building the largest concrete structure of its time, and the concrete industry is controlled by Fat Tony Salerno, it makes all the sense in the world.
In the early 90s, Trump was almost $1 billion in the red. By 2004, he'd recovered and got into reality TV.
You're fired.
Welcome to a kingdom where everybody's treated like a king. Castle, the crown jewel of Atlantic City.
Then you found that in the early 80s, when an ambitious young Donald Trump was looking to extend his business into Atlantic City, he did have a sit-down meeting with FBI agents about it, correct? And what came out of that meeting?
That's right. Well, he was looking to open a casino in Atlantic City, New Jersey. He had primarily been working with his dad developing properties in New York City, and he wanted to know what kind of risks. My dad's business has a reputation, and I don't want to jeopardize that by going into Atlantic City. So he had someone he had met in Atlantic City who was an FBI informant, a guy named Dan Sullivan, who was a Teamster, and he introduced Trump to these FBI agents.
Oh, and the FBI agent said, you know what, Mr. Trump, might be better to stay out of Atlantic City, right?
Yeah, they said, you know, there's a lot of kind of shady people doing business down there, and the mob has some influence, and so there might be better ways you could invest your money if you're worried about your reputation.
Because this was Atlantic City in the 80s, and among builders, it was widely known that it was almost impossible to go down there without getting your hands at least a little dirty, it seems.
That's right. At the beginning, banks wouldn't even really work down there, so it was something people stayed away from, but Donald Trump went forward nonetheless.
He did, and you found some specific people that he dealt with. I'm going to start with the first, who is a man described by prosecutors as an agent of the Philadelphia mob. Is that right?
Right. This was a guy named Ken Shapiro, and he was a scrap metal dealer in Philadelphia, and he also worked with the Philadelphia mob and the mob boss at the time, Nicky Scarfo, who they called Little Nicky, and he and the other gentleman I just mentioned, Dan Sullivan, the Teamster, who knew Trump, owned a piece of property together, and Trump needed it to build his first casino, so they leased it to him.
All of the fun is waiting for you at the castle. Trump's Castle.
Trump Castle, the latest hotel to open in Atlantic City. He picked it up from the Hilton Corporation for $325 million just a month before it was set to open. And through financial wizardry, he used almost none of his own cash.
We'll be number one. The right management, we're number one. Nobody competes with it.
The first month they were open, the casino broke the all-time first-month Atlantic City record with a profit of $21 million.
You're really funny. Really funny. What do you mean I'm funny? It's funny, you know. It's a good story. It's funny. You're a funny guy. What do you mean? You mean the way I talk? What? It's just, you know, you're just funny. It's funny, you know, the way you tell the story and everything. Funny how? I mean, what's funny about it?
Tommy, no, you got it all wrong.
Oh, Anthony. He's a big boy. He knows what he said. What'd you say? Right. Funny how? What? Just, you know, you're funny. You mean, well, let me understand this, because maybe it's me, I'm a little up, maybe. But I'm funny how? I mean, funny like I'm a clown, I amuse you. I make you laugh. I'm here to fucking amuse you. What do you mean funny? Funny how? How am I funny? Just, you know how you tell a story. What? No, I don't know. You said it. How do I know? You said I'm funny. How the fuck am I funny? What the fuck is so funny about me? Tell me. Tell me what's funny. Get the fuck out of here, Tommy. I almost had him. You stuttering prick yet? Frankie, was he shaking? I wonder about you sometimes, Henry. You may fold under questioning.
One of the most important figures of organized crime in the 20th century is an Italian Roman Catholic named Lucky Luciano. Charles Lucky Luciano started his criminal career in the 5 Points Gang and was instrumental in establishing the Jesuits' mafia crime structure in America. He was also the first official boss of the modern Genovese crime family. Luciano worked for the CIA and founded the Organized Crime Council for the different mafia families called the Commission. Meyer Lansky was not allowed on the council. It should be noted the mafia only used Jews as bookkeepers. Although the author of The Godfather said he modeled the Corleone family off the Borgias, it is obvious Lucky Luciano was the inspiration, especially Godfather II in Cuba and Godfather III in Rome. The crime commission Luciano set up is portrayed in Jesuit John Wick 2 as the High Table. In John Wick 2, there is a deleted scene where he gets permission to kill his target from a Jesuit cardinal at the Vatican. The Jesuits had that scene deleted and replaced it with John Wick at a Jewish bank to blame the Jews. The CIA and the Mafia have always worked closely together, for instance, in Operation Gladio, which involved the Mafia and Vatican Bank.
And one other thing I want to mention, too, since we're talking about these Irish Catholics and these Italian Catholics, remember Frank Sinatra was a big promoter of black and white race mixing in his movies and also in his entertainment. He was one of the foremost pushers of that in the entertainment industry. So we see the Mafia pushing that with their entertainers all the time. Yet meanwhile, the Mafia families would never interracial marriage with any blacks, pursuant to the purposes of the papacy. So this is a very important thing we must point out here. The Jesuit ruled Hollywood with their Italian Catholics, and later on Robert De Niro, he's going to take a black woman for a wife. So they're trying to lead the example, to miscegenate and race mix the country, to weaken the white race, and ultimately find ourselves where we are today.
Well, you know, I wasn't going to bring this up because I wasn't prepared, but I just sent you a clip over the weekend from the intro to Godfather 3, 1990, where I guess there's like a cardinal or archbishop who's talking to Don Corleone, played by played by Al Pacino, Michael Corleone. And I guess this is supposed to take place in the 1970s. And he's basically saying, hey, Mr. Corleone, the Vatican is in bad shape financially. You can give us about $700 million. And so they're haggling over how much money they're going to loan.
Which is another propaganda ploy of Hollywood, because the Vatican is the richest corporation in the world. I had a Bible college teacher, Mr. Willie, Lancaster Bible College, tell me there was a time when the Vatican was in financial trouble. The Vatican's never been in financial trouble. That is a total lie, and especially since the Great Depression, when they bought up all of Wall Street for pennies on the dollar in 1929. So this whole nonsense that the Vatican was in financial trouble is about as ridiculous as airborne nuclear war. Go ahead.
There's an underlying theme here. The Vatican runs it all. They use certain people in certain formats for their certain agendas.
Fight the real enemy.
There was an incident on the show last week. Sinead O'Connor tore up a picture of the Pope, and I thought that was wrong. So I asked somebody to paste it back together. So we have that picture? There. Oh, yes, yes. But we have to remember, George, that the American people, that were basically moral. The Protestants, white Protestants, and many of the black Protestants and Baptists were very highly moral people until the turn of the century, when the papacy started bringing in, well, in the 1800s, after the war between the states, when they started bringing in all their immoral Italian and Irish Roman Catholics. That's when the morality of the country started to really degenerate. And especially with the introduction of the mafia in the 1880s with the Colonna family, which is one of the 10 most powerful and wealthiest Italian Catholic families in the world. So they have to demoralize the country. And so in demoralizing the country, they came out with the big band music. They came out with the big band music in the 20s, the Follies, the Charleston, spreading your legs back and forth, all that demoralization and Africanization of white people with Gene Krupa, drums, 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 and with the big bands at the time, which was really an Africanization of the American people. And then after World War II, they started in with the beatniks. And then ultimately the sex pervert Elvis Presley, where all the white women can fawn over him, and then Little Richard, and so so you see my transition I'm trying to illustrate here from the 1900s to the 20s, to the 30s, to the 40s, to the 50s, the 60s with the Beatles. It's a continual down slide of wickedness in music to the point where there's no beauty in it anymore. And you have to go to other eras to listen to truly beautiful music. Go ahead.
I guess there's a clip back in 1990, I don't have the date, where I guess Marlon Brando was on the Larry King show, and he said, oh yes, the Jews run Hollywood.
Are you critical of the Hollywood that makes violence?
I think that I'm angry with some of the Jews. I'm very goddamn angry at some of the Jews. Hollywood is run by Jews. It's owned by Jews. And,
yeah.
And
Catholic better than that.
I'm sorry?
That immoral Roman Catholic knew better than that. Just like Mel Gibson, that immoral Roman Catholic, when he ranted and raved, the Jews run Hollywood, he knew much better than that. He knows who runs Hollywood. With his buddies like Jesuit William J. Fulco and others. He knows who runs Hollywood, but their shibboleth is to blame the Jews.
Now, it may appear the Jews run Hollywood. I can understand that. With like Steven Spielberg or Mel Brooks or something, or whoever is popular, in particular, and they may be the accountants, the bookkeepers.
Yeah, so, just like Meyer Lansky was the accountant for the Mafia Commission, but the Jews never ran the Mafia Commission. They never ran the Mafia. They were just bookkeepers, just underlings to the 5 Sicilian families. So they always have their Jews up front so they can blame them, just like in government. Janet Yellen, why she's the Secretary of Treasury. Why, if the Treasury goes bankrupt or what happened, why it's the Jews' fault. And you know very well the Archbishop of New York runs the military government through the CFR.
Well, okay, it may be, for cover, but they need competent people to run their empire.
That's true. It's very true. That's why they got a Jew to be the bookkeeper for the Mafia Commission. And Meyer Lansky. The Sicilians couldn't do it themselves. They didn't have the brains, so they hired a Jew, Meyer Lansky, and he kept the books. But he had no vote on the commission. Go ahead.
I know we were just talking a moment ago how the Jesuits are the drug lords. Well, the Jesuits are involved with pretty much every vice to their practice. The mafia ones.
That's right. They centralize crime. Nobody's going to be out there committing crime on his own. We can't have any private businessmen in prostitution. All of them are somehow connected to the Jesuits who mafia control. And if you don't want to pay the piper with the mafia, they'll kill you and make sure anybody that's involved in any of this organized crime, whatever it might be, they get a cut.
Okay, so they run, I know you've talked about this before, but those who have not heard this, they run the Vatican runs all organized crime in the world. The United States is called the Mafia.
Including the Russians, the Japanese Yakuza, the Chinese Mafia there, with the
Talent?
I think the Triads. They run it all. And they institute these mafiosos after they made war in their country and killed off the best manhood. So what's left is nothing but people want to make money and survive. So that's a perfect combination to create a mafia, a criminal enterprise.
Okay, so they also run your newer entities like MS-13, the Bloods, the Crips. Those are all
Catholic. Yeah. They're all Catholic. Of course they do.
Okay, so they all
MS-13 is Catholic, but the Bloods and the Crips are just savage blacks. That's all. Tribal savage blacks, organized for dope and drugs to further destroy historic white Anglo-Saxon Protestant Western civilization. And when the Jesuits are done using those black savages, they're going to round them up, just like it said in the Oliver North investigation, where 21 million American Negroes are going to be going to the camps.
Later, Martin Scorsese would make a movie called The Irishman, in which a Jesuit named James Martin makes a cameo. Jesuit James Martin is one of the most powerful Jesuits in America today and makes frequent appearances on the Jesuit Colbert Show, Late Night with Stephen Colbert.
Hey everybody, welcome back. I'm pretty excited because my next guest is a Jesuit priest, author and editor-at-large of America Magazine. His latest book is called Learning to Pray. Please welcome to a late show, Father Jim Martin. Father Jim, good to see you.
Good to see you.
And I assume as a priest you were willing to forgive me for bumping you before Christmas because we had the Bidens on at the last minute.
Yes, I give you a full absolution for that.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Now, I interviewed you 9 times over the Colbert Report. Completists of Stephen Colbert's oeuvre will know that you were the chaplain of the Colbert Nation, but that was basic cable. Now we're on network. Do I need to make you at least Monsignor, or do we need to kick you up to Bishop of the Colbert Nation? What shall it be?
That's a little grand for a Jesuit. Chaplain's fine.
Chaplain's fine. Okay. Fine. Really? You don't have any desire to wear the scarlet and the beretta or anything like that?
No, we Jesuits make a promise not to strive for high offices, and so chaplain is just great.
Now wait a second. That doesn't quite pass the smell test, because not striving for a high office, we got our first Jesuit Pope right now. Aren't the Jesuits pulling for him a little bit aren't you guys doing a little bit of an end zone dance when he became the Pope?
This is the Jesuit hand in our media and politics and entertainment industry, using their Jesuit directors like Martin Scorsese to tell the history of their mafias.
World-renowned movie director Martin Scorsese met with the Pope in preparation for the premiere of his latest film, Silence, which will be shown at the Jesuit-run Pontifical Oriental Institute in Rome on December 1st. During the 15-minute meeting, Scorsese's wife and 2 daughters were also there, along with the film's producer and his wife. Martin Scorsese gifted Pope Francis 2 interesting religious pictures. The Pope in turn gave the visitors some rosaries and warmly greeted each person one by one. The new film Silence is based on a 1966 novel by Japanese writer Suzaku Endo about a group of Jesuits who were persecuted in 17th century Japan. As such, around 400 Jesuits and other visitors are expected to attend the premiere in Rome on Thursday.
Leonardo DiCaprio greeted the Pope in perfect Italian. An excited Pope asked the actor to take a seat in English. They had a longer conversation with a translator present. The actor is deeply involved in the environmental activism movement, which the Pope has become a key figure in since the publication of Laudato Si. After their conversation, DiCaprio introduced the Pope to his father. The actor gave the Pope a book with pictures from the 15th century Flemish artist, Bosch. He explained what the images meant to him. He also gave the Pope a donation for environmental causes. The Pope in return gave him 2 of the most important texts of his pontificate. As the actor was leaving, the Pope repeated his request, and DiCaprio responded, again, that he wouldn't forget.
Let us now look at some Italian mafia movies, like the Jesuit Godfather movie, and the Corleone family, which was actually modeled off the Jesuit Borgia family. The Italian and Spanish black nobility papal bloodline families were the original mafias.
Don Corleone, my gift was to be able to persuade people to give to the Holy Church. Then Rome decides to put me in charge of the Vatican Bank. Oh, Constantine, how much misfortune you caused, not by becoming Christian, but by the dowry which the first rich pope accepted from you. How true Dante's words were. Even the sins of the flesh are simple compared to the burden of money. But I was never a true banker. Mea culpa. I trusted my friend.
Friendship and money. Oil and water.
Indeed. These friends use the good name of the church to feed their greed. If money was lost, then I am to blame. Oh, if only prayer could pay off our $700 million deficit.
769. You quote Dante, Archbishop, and beautifully. But we're not talking about poetry now. This is business. And I have my interests, just as you have your problems.
Don Corleone, I need your help. And not just to light a little candle. What would you have of the Holy Church in return?
The church owns 25% of a large corporation, Immobiliare. You know the one I mean.
Largest landlord on earth, real estate all over the world worth $6 billion.
That's true.
Immobiliare could be something new. A European conglomerate. Few families have control of such a company. And the Vatican vote is necessary for control.
No. You're mistaken. This isn't a question of one person deciding. one deciding vote. This is like any other company in the world. We have directors, we have rules, we have very old rules. Pope himself would have to approve you.
We've sold the casinos. All businesses having to do with gambling. We have no interest or investment in anything illegitimate.
Some people may have reservations. The Corleone family, partners with the Pope, they may cry blasphemy.
Corleones are prepared to deposit $500 million in the Vatican Bank at such time as Mr. Corleone receives majority control of Immobiliare.
It seems in today's world, the power to absolve debt is greater than the power of forgiveness. $600 million.
Don't overestimate the power of forgiveness.
Don Corleone, this deal with Immobiliare can make you one of the richest men in the world. Your whole past history and the history of your family will be washed away. You'll be as respectable as Rockefeller. 600 million.
Rome, 1492. Rodrigo Borgia is elected Pope Alexander VI and becomes one of the most notorious men in history. Along with his children, Cesare, Juan, Lucrezia, and Joffrey, Rodrigo will do anything to keep the Borgia family in power. The depravity of the Borgia rule inspired legendary author Mario Puzo to create America's most iconic crime family in The Godfather.
Mario saw the analogy between powerful figures in Italian history and mafia leaders.
I think Mario thought it was the popes that were the greatest dons. They were more treacherous than any of the crime families that he wrote about. Like Vito Corleone. Pope Alexander was a man who was a visionary and wanted to build life in a new world with a new family.
The most important element, both the Godfather and the Borgias, was the family.
The Borgias, it's almost like the Godfather brought home, you know, to 15th century Rome. Except far more, probably savage than the Godfather was.
Meet history's original crime family, the Borgias.